In this video, we're going to look at our Gi Joe custom Dragonhawk dropship. We're going to look at some reference, how we converted the cockpit to fit figures, rework the tail, create a magnetic Vamp connector, and then take it for a test run. The dropship from Aliens has to be one of the coolest military vehicles ever created. It's armed, it's fast, it looks really tough, but most of all, it can transport a vehicle and the troops inside. The game Halo was definitely inspired by that when they created the Pelican that could carry around the Warthog. Now, all of this is based on real-world military applications. The military really wants to be able to transport troops and armament and equipment using a VTOL or a helicopter, where it can land anywhere, take off anywhere. Now, while there are some cool model kits and customs of the Pelican and the dropship from Aliens, it was when I saw the Dragonhawk that I really thought of the Aliens dropship. And specifically, it was these Instagram posts by Amaro Joe that got me wanting a Dragonhawk and wanting to do a custom. He just did an amazing, almost sky crane version of the Dragonhawk with this transport unit underneath it that could fit vehicles and figures. So to get the project started, I picked up the cheapest Dragonhawk I could find on eBay, and then I picked up a later model Vamp that could fit 5 figures and had the kind of chain gun in the back. It kind of felt like a warthog, so I think that fit the project. I really didn't know anything about the Dragonhawk. I mean, I thought it looked cool. It was a pretty neat design, but it was Sigma 6, so I'd never really looked at it or considered getting it. The figures are kind of tiny. You can see it comes with like a snake eyes on a motorcycle. I don't know what's going on with that. It's got like kind of a cage underneath, and it's sort of neat. Like the motorcycle kind of triggers into that with like a spring, and then when it lands, you can like pop it open and he'll shoot out. So it's kind of neat, but didn't feel like Gi Joe to me. It was just the wrong scale, and so I wasn't going to keep the box or the motorcycle or any of those other parts. I was strictly considering like converting this for a real American Hero 3 3/4 inch or the 4-inch figures, or so it would fit both of those. Briefly, I looked at the box that it came with, thinking about could an Ostriker or motorcycle, could the Ram cycle or something fit in there, and like, yeah, maybe, but it just didn't work. It couldn't even fit a standing figure. So I really decided that I was going to use the magnetic plates, something like that, to attach to it, and it would be the Vamp would be underslung on the vehicle, and then you would use the magnetic trigger to release it, and that's how it would work, similar to the Pelican and the Warthog, kind of hanging underneath. So the first thing I wanted to do was get the cockpit to be into scale so that it would fit the real American Hero figures, 4-inch figures, and so that just meant splitting the front of that, removing the chain gun in the front, and taking some screws out. This gave me access to the seats, and I was kind of pleasantly surprised that the seats weren't as small as I thought they would be. It looked like they could fit the 4-inch figures or smaller, and so I thought maybe I could mod those and kind of keep them, as opposed to making just a full-on custom brand new seating arrangement. And as you can see here, the tub is pretty good. The seats aren't too bad, and they actually will fit a figure. It's just that there's not enough like leg room. So here I took a Rattler seating tub, and I was thinking of like using that and maybe put that into the Dragonhawk, but it seemed like that would be too long. I didn't know if the heads would fit. It seemed like a lot of work, so I decided to try cutting into the existing tub. So I grabbed my Dremel and started, kind of hacking away at it, and decided to just remove the actual seat part, and then had to remove part of the front of the cockpit. And as you can see there, by removing the seat, they're kind of almost like sitting on the floor, but this gave room to like even the biggest of 4-inch figures. So it would definitely fit the real American Hero, but here you can see Stalker, and he looks fine, and plenty of headroom so I could close the cockpit, and looks really good and like natural in that position. The second thing I wanted to do was the tail. I just felt like it was too long, just aesthetically like not pleasing to me. I kind of wanted this thing to be a little more like stout, a little more like buff, kind of like a pit bull. So I redesigned the tail. I made my own custom tail and 3D printed it, and I wanted it to still keep the same aesthetics to match up and almost look like, Hasbro did it this way from the start. I made it so it could use the existing fins that came with the toy. I thought those looked great. You can see there the black part there. It's sculpted really nicely. So I just had to hit my print with some paint, and then attach the fins to that, and then put that onto the Dragonhawk. And I thought it looked like totally like it was stock. Like couldn't even tell like I'd done a custom job on that. So I was really excited, and it kind of gave it those like tougher, beefier proportions I wanted, not that kind of long, lean, stretched out look. Now to figure out how to get the Vamp to stick to the Dragonhawk. So I wanted to put some kind of attachment device on the Vamp that would have metal plates. And then the magnet holder or kind of gripper in the Dragonhawk would attach to this. So I decided I'd fabricate something that would kind of match the aesthetics of the Dragonhawk as well as the new, more modern Vamp, but wouldn't be permanent. I wanted it to be detachable so I could put it on or take it off of the Vamp if I wasn't doing this. So I came up with this design. It's kind of like a block with that recessed area, and I was going to put metal plates in there or a metal plate in there and kind of glue it in. As you can see, it's got that piece that I can pull in and out, and that lets me, put it onto the Vamp or take it off of the Vamp, kind of like a key. So here's the final piece with the metal plates kind of glued in there. I forget what I did. I think I kind of like resined them in there, and they held really good, and it looks pretty good, so I just need to paint that up. And then I did some very scientific, kind of methods of determining the center of gravity of the Vamp, which I realized I should have done ahead of time. But luckily, it's pretty much in the center in that bar where I was going to hang it from. Depending on how you load it out with figures in the front seat, middle seat, back seat, it's going to change. But the connection's pretty strong with the magnet, so I wasn't too worried. You can also see it slips on pretty easily. It holds pretty good, seems strong enough. And two, it doesn't feel like an eyesore. It feels like it kind of matches with the aesthetic and doesn't look like some kind of just a big block of metal stuck on the roof. So I was excited with that. I also wanted to make sure that it didn't block the heads of any of the figures. That was something I was worried about, but it seemed fine with, Stalker here. So didn't make his head too uncomfortable or anything like that, or, limit the movement of the figures inside the Vamp. And so here's the moment of truth. We got Tunnel Rat driving the Vamp, and we've got Wild Bill driving the Dragonhawk. And so he brings it in. You can see here I'll hit the button and extend the magnet on the Dragonhawk. That's like that gray piece that comes down. And that's designed to meet up perfectly with the piece on the Vamp that we created. And you can see it's attached to the metal plates now. And it easily lifts the weight of the Vamp and the one figure. And since then I've tried it with like a pretty big loadout, and it's really strong. You can see there too, there's a cool little thumb wheel that you can spin the rotor blades on the Dragonhawk to make it look like it's really like adjusting for the rotation and direction and stuff like that. But it's holding really good, passes the test. So now we just got to put some paint on it, add some stickers, and make it feel like a real Joe vehicle. For the paint, I did my standard cheapy rattle can method. I just like it because it's durable and it's strong. And, sometimes I play with these with my kids, or, we're doing some kind of like video. And so they get beat up, they're treated like toys, and I just find that works out well. And then for stickers, I just went in my bin of, random stickers I have over the years and just use that to make it look good. For the cockpit, I gave it this kind of bluish feel that I liked, that I've seen in other vehicles and like naval vehicles and stuff, that makes the cockpit just kind of feel cleaner. So we're done. The Dragonhawk is now an official Gi Joe dropship, so we can pick up vehicles, drop them wherever we want, and then pick them up after the mission's done. Gives Gi Joe an amazing capability that they never had before. So I hope you liked this video. Hope you enjoyed looking at the Dragonhawk. You like how it turned out, and you had fun watching this process. Maybe you got inspired by something. Hope to see you in the next video, and Yo Joe.